Qatar Airways is competing at the moment fairly with them. So we don't want to get into this, what shall I use? Anyway, we don't want to get into the bandwagon of, everybody want to do a low-cost airline. Low-cost airline model is not just for everybody. So we are satisfied with a full-service carrier, and we will stick to it for the time being. I already mentioned many times, and I will mention it again, that if we get erosion of our market share, then we will think about it. But you can always have low-cost element in a full-service airline by revenue management, and this is what we are doing. Secondly, restrictions of us into the United States. We have an open sky policy with the United States. I know that there are airlines in the United States that are showing concern about the entry of Gulf carriers into the United States. But United States believes in free trade. They are promoters of free trade. So free trade has to be on really equal footing. You cannot have free trade when it suits you, and when it doesn't suit you, you start restricting that free trade regime that they so much promote all across the world. You know that they get into trade wars when another country is not free doing trade with them. So I don't think that that is going to happen for the time being. Yes, I am aware that that there are a lobby in the United States to restrict us, but the United States government are already very understanding and progressive. You know that there was a big move to restrict UAE getting the customs clearance in Congress, and they didn't succeed. And I hope that reasoning will prevail, and the bigger interest of the country will be put ahead of interest of certain companies. As far as Qatar Airways, or let me speak today in the context of Gulf carriers, expansion in the Western Europe is concerned. You know, the European carriers, especially the carrier that is making the biggest noise, one of them are inefficient, so they are losing. And the second one is efficient, but wants to have the cake and eat it themselves. And in today's day and age, that doesn't happen. People have to compete, and keep just one thing in mind. Suppose they restrict Gulf carriers going into Western Europe. For the sake of argument, I know this will not happen, because then there will be also equal damage to their side that the damage will happen to us. How will those volumes of people that we take to Europe that fuels European economy, how will they get there? Don't ever think that if Gulf carriers stop going to Western Europe, that the subcontinent, China, and the rest of the countries in the Orient are going to open their doors for Western European carriers and tell them, come as many times as you want in our country. That will not happen. So who will be the one that will get affected? It will be the general people in Europe. There is a growth in aviation, and we are being part of that growth. So what is the problem? I think that it is not correct for Western European airlines to dictate government policies. If that restriction happens, for the sake of argument, which again, I'm just putting something that will not happen, Emirates, Qatar Airways, Etihad, Air Arabia, if we all get together and cancel aeroplane orders, do you know what it will happen to the European economies? You know, I know that aviation is maybe seen as a small industry, but it is providing hundreds of thousands of direct and indirect jobs. This will go. If Emirates alone cancels the A380 orders, Airbus A380 production will close instantly. So you see, there is so much trade. And the interest of one or two airlines that are inefficient should not be considered in the bigger context of the economic interest of Western Europe. I hope I gave you a longer answer than you expected.